This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
It's going to be quite a match. We're going to watch it here together. One more time, you want to fire up your Peacock network to SummerSlam 2001. It's known as Season 14, Episode 1. I'm going to recommend that you go to 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 1 second, and we're going to watch this match together. They get plenty of time, 22 minutes and 30 seconds here in the match. Meltzer loved it too. He gave it 4.5 stars, and appreciate he gave a DQ finish 4.5 stars. Meltzer is normally pretty critical of a not so clean finish.
I'm surprised, man. That's pretty crazy.
Deal. It's a big deal. Tells you how good it is. So Kurt, if you've got it pulled up on your end, I do on my end. I'll count backwards from 3. I'll say 3, 2, 1. And when I say play, you'll press play. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play.
Of the Alliance is united as our champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin, defends that title against Kurt Angle, who so desperately wants to bring the championship home.
And this one all started at Invasion.
Kurt Angle has exploded.
Ankle lock. Austin bringing the referee in. That's the right thing. Wait a minute. Wait. What the? Austin just stunned Kurt Angle. Austin just cost Team WWF the match. I cannot believe this. Are you telling me the WWF title is now in the enemy camp? Why, Austin? Why, damn it? Why?
You know, Vince, a hug used to be something special between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. But no longer. You want to hug Kurt Angle because you're grooming him to be the next WWF champion. What's wrong with Stone Cold Steve Austin? What's wrong with me? So I've jumped to a team that appreciates, that respects, that loves Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've jumped to a team that's going to find me the best competition in the world. Stone Cold Steve Austin will back down from nobody.
Oh, here we go! Kurt Angle rushing the ring after Austin, exchanging blows, center of the ring. Kurt Angle cleaning house.
Look at Austin backpedal out of the ring.
Stone Cold, I'm a better athlete than you.
Kurt Angle scored with his Angle slam.
I'm a better competitor than you.
Kurt Angle is so physical, so intense.
Angle, the ankle lock.
The ankle lock.
It's locked in.
I think I hear the ankle snapping.
Which is why I have the confidence to challenge you to a match at SummerSlam for the World Wrestling Federation.
Do you ever look back at this stuff and think it's pretty amazing you did all of this?
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. Sometimes I have to pinch myself.
Home to where it belongs.
Kurt Angle's eyes tell a story. Kurt Angle has no fear. But can we stay the same for the rattlesnake?
Ever since Stone Cold Steve Austin joined the Alliance, I've led by example.
This is humiliating.
You're pathetic. You suck.
You don't treat another human being like that.
You're gonna learn about respect for Stone Cold.
This is sick.
Kurt Angle, SummerSlam, World Wrestling Federation title on the line. I accept. And what I'm pledging is to whip your red, white, and blue Olympic ass.
He's too devious. He's too evil.
You ain't such a hero now, are you?
This is sick.
You're gonna bleed for the Alliance. You're gonna bleed for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm going to do the same thing I did in the 1996 Olympics. I'm bringing the gold back home.
And a match where the stakes are so high.
I don't know about you, Kurt, but I'm fired up now.
Me too.
Dude, this is such a great time. I didn't even remember that video package, but I knew I wanted us to be able to sort of add context to the mood and the tone and the tenor of this whole storyline. And we see you making your way out here now. But the backstory was great, but the video production, man, David Sahadi, I think, is the guy who probably put that together. That was an unbelievable package, dude.
Yeah, he does a great job. He always does a great job. The guy is incredible at his craft, and he's always come through every time he's done something for me.
We see you come into the ring here, and it's interesting because I kind of forget too, in hindsight, how weird it is that, you know, the WWF and certainly Vince McMahon has always wanted to make sure everyone knew the WWF was superior to WCW. WWF really had no competition. They have the best in the world. And the WWF title is not on last. It's the WCW title that's on last. And I know it's going to be a big moment. And I understand your rationale in saying, well, he probably didn't want to put a DQ on last, but still, it's a little weird that the big belt, you know, for the company that we're watching here isn't on absolutely last. And here he comes. Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to be making his way to the ring, dragging the Big Eagle. That's your favorite version of the WWF title too, right?
Yes, it is. I love the Eagle one. It's pretty awesome. It's my favorite title.
Is it weird to look back and see yourself with hair?
Yes, it is weird. I look a lot younger, that's for sure. But I haven't had my head shaved for 20 years now. So it is kind of weird to see it.
Man, what a story we're telling too. He takes the vest off, still bringing the belt, but you guys aren't waiting, getting at it in the aisle. Who would have helped you put together a match like this? Is this just all you and Steve, or is there an agent helping?
Jack Lanza was Steve's favorite agent, so he helped out quite a bit. But for the most part, Stone Cold and I came up with the concepts and the ideas for the matches. Steve wanted to start hot. He wanted, because of the storyline that was really hot too. So he wanted to start with a lot of action, a lot of fighting.
Would you have requested a specific referee? Would Austin, or would it have just been all set up by the WWE for a big show like this?
Usually it was Earl Hebner, especially with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin loves Hebner for some reason. I know Hebner is an incredible referee. He always has been. So for Austin usually picked Earl Hebner.
It feels like the other staple in this era was Mike Chioda, and he certainly became the go-to guy as well.
Oh, Mike Chioda is an incredible referee. I never had a problem with him once. He was on with everything.
What makes a great referee in your opinion?
Timing, signals, relaying messages, getting the pinfall right, the false finishes correctly. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but some referees don't want to know the whole match. And I kind of like when a referee goes over the whole entire match with you so that he can relay the ideas and spots to you if you forget. But for the most part, a lot of referees don't want to know the whole match. So they just want to know the finish and some of the false finishes.
Kurt, if it's possible, can you mute your Peacock? We're getting a little bit of that through the feed here. Oh man, big cross body there and a false finish. Hebner's making the count. In this era, we're starting to see Stone Cold's body start to break down on him a little bit. Of course, we know a few years prior to this, he had the big neck injury at SummerSlam 97, the mishap with he and Owen Hart. But he's wearing not one, but two knee braces here. How busted up were Austin's knees to the best of your recollection?
He did that for protection. They weren't busted up. He never had problems with his knees. I'm sure he did in the past, and that's why he wears the braces. But I remember one time, Austin was at a hotel, and this guy said something to him, and Austin flipped him off, and the guy said, "F you cripple." And Austin said all he could do was turn around and start laughing because the guy got him good.
That's hilarious. Oh man. And how about what a different time it was too. You see so many ringside photographers, of course, in this era. Wrestling magazines are still a big thing.
I love the wrestling magazines.
Internationally. Did you keep any where you were on the cover? Do you have any of your old covers?
I have the PWI top 500 when I was number one.
There you
only
go.
1 year, and this is the year 2001. I became the number one wrestler in the PWI top 500.
That's cool, man.
I was number two a couple of times too, but never made number one again, which I was kind of surprised because I had a pretty good career even after 2001.
Oh, no doubt. And it's weird to think back too, because I think a lot of our listeners really want to hear about and talk about your WWF years, but you actually spent more time in TNA than you actually did in WWE, right?
Yes, I did. I spent 6.5 years in WWE and then 11 years in TNA.
Nearly
And I went back to
Wow.
WWE for a couple more years. So 11 years and 9 years. So I was in TNA more than WWE.
As far as just your personal enjoyment, I'm not asking income or accomplishments on camera, nothing like that. Just you, the man, Kurt Angle, what year did you have the most fun in? If you had to go back and relive 1 year, not financially, not on TV, not like accomplishments or whatever, just, hey man, that was fun. Is there a year that stands out above others?
Well, surprisingly, I just started out. My rookie year and my second year are my top two favorites. And I was very inexperienced. I was a nervous wreck when I went out there because half the time I didn't know what I was going to do. My opponent would tell me, lead me through the match. And it was really difficult, but I really enjoyed the challenge. It was a lot of fun to learn on the fly. And also, I won a lot of titles those 2 years. So I was pretty established as a wrestler.
When you're putting together a match like this, and it's we call it the co-main event, I know that they're going to tell you, hey, because they got to time the show, so they've got to leave time for the main event, and of course you want to make sure that everything airs and you don't lose your satellite time. That's the way pay-per-view worked, especially in this era. But if a guy like Austin's out there, and we're at our time code, let's just pretend for a minute that we were supposed to go 20 minutes. And the match winds up going 23. To a guy like Steve Austin, does Vince McMahon even say a word when he comes back through? Or is it that big of a deal on pay-per-view? You have to hit your time no matter what.
I think Vince would say something, but he wouldn't be derogatory or angry to Austin. I think he would say, hey, you went over. I'm going to have to pay a fine. It's going to be a big fine, but that's okay. I think that Vince and Steve, they had such a great relationship that Vince was never going to yell at Steve for that. I think Steve's the only one that would get away with it. Maybe him or The Rock or Undertaker.
Or Shawn Michaels.
Or Shawn, yes.
Shawn Michaels had a reputation for going long. But again, his matches were critically acclaimed. Everybody knew, hey, if it's long, it's great stuff. Yeah. So it's hard to be mad if the result is a great match like this one is.
Well, my match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21 went 6 minutes over.
Right.
And Vince did not yell at Shawn about it.
Well, again, to your point, if you have that trust and credibility in the relationship, but also too, if it's a great match, it's hard to be mad if something's great.
Yeah. But in wrestling, you have to hit your time cues. That's the most important thing about it. Unfortunately, everything else takes the back seat to that. Timing is everything.
We just saw you take a big turnbuckle to the face there. Is there magic to taking a turnbuckle spot, whether it's on your back or wherever? Is there magic to that, or is it just kind of is what it is?
You just got to put your head down and take it. Yeah. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't. But the turnbuckle is pretty good padding, so you don't have to worry that much. That was the hard way. I took that one the hard way.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a thud there. We see Austin scaling to the top, setting up what looks like a big superplex here. Let's see what happens.
He was such a great in-ring worker. He was so underrated inside the ring because, I said this before, but his character, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the beer drinker, was so strong that people forgot about how good of a wrestler he was.
Yeah, you go back and you watch some of his early WCW stuff, and man, he was a real technician. And
oh yes,
there it comes, the big superplex. What hurts worse, the moonsault or a superplex off the top rope?
Superplex doesn't hurt that much, and he has your neck supported, so you don't get whiplash. You just hit your back. I mean, it hurts a little bit, but definitely the moonsault. hitting your knees and your stomach hurts a lot more than your back.
And your toes probably too, right?
Oh yeah. I stubbed my toes quite a few times doing that.
Is your nose bleeding here?
Yes, my nose is bleeding. I don't know how. I think Austin might have stiffed me with a punch, which is not unusual with Austin. So sometimes he could lay in with those punches.
Who was probably the most notorious when it came to throwing those potatoes, those haymakers, those accidental live rounds as a punch?
You know what? At the beginning of my career, it was Chris Jericho. He would potato people pretty well, but he got a lot better at it further in his career. But I know he wrestled a lot in WCW, but by the time he came to WWE, he was still pretty stiff with the punches. But he was able to fix that in a couple years.
Who did you think, in your opinion, had the best punch in wrestling?
Undertaker. Oh
wow.
Gosh, he would line you up and he would pull that punch back to his chin. And he would throw it, and it looked so real. You know, he called it throwing soup bones, and that was Undertaker's wording for it. But he was incredible. His punches looked so real, and they didn't touch you at all.
See Austin talking to Hebner here. This is good stuff. I mean, that's what you got to do as a heel. You got to get in the face of the referee. You're supposed to be a cheater.
Yeah, Austin was so good at this. I was surprised that he wasn't a heel for a long time. I think maybe 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, not very long.
Babyface.
Yeah.
So, you know, him being able to change this quickly and adapt that fast is incredible.
So not one, not two, but 3 separate shots into the pole. And of course, I think you've been lacerated, as they say. Is this something you would have been nervous about going into a match like this, making sure that you got the job done when it came to getting some color?
Well, it didn't work out for me that well. I was trying to gig. I was trying to get a lot of blood, and I was doing superficial wounds. I was slicing my head with a corner of a razor, and it wasn't working. So Austin was like, "Give me that damn razor, kid." And he grabbed it and he dug it into my head and twisted. So it wasn't a slice, it was a dig and twist. And he even said that to me. You got to dig and twist, kid, dig and twist. And I was bleeding like a sieve after that.
Did he just do it right there?
Yes. He's pretty quick with it, huh?
Well, he ran you into the post 5 times, and now all of a sudden, well, here it comes. Gosh, what a bloody mess. Does any part of you start to panic or freak out when there's this much coming out? I mean, obviously you're a badass, but it's got to be a little weird. Like, oh shit, this is more than I planned for.
It was a lot, but you don't think about that. You just worry about your match and continuing on and making sure you get all the spots right. Man, I didn't even know I was bleeding this badly until I saw it back.
Wow. Man, look at where your face was on the mat. It is coming down.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, I guess. What a weird business, right? Thanks for cutting my head open.
Dig and twist. I still have the scar right here. It's a big lump on my forehead.
From this match?
Yeah, from him digging and twisting the razor into my head.
Dig and twist. That might be a
dig and twist. Don't slice, dig and twist.
It's pretty remarkable to see what we're seeing. You know, I don't know that you're going to see many more matches like this in 2021.
It's pretty brutal. Yeah, it's bloody, it's graphic. It's a lot different than it is today.
Meltzer would write, Kurt Angle beat Steve Austin by DQ, so Austin retained the WWF title in 22 minutes and 30 seconds. Super match with a bad finish. Austin worked over Angle's left knee early. Angle got the ankle lock early for a rope break. Austin threw several suplexes. He came back with 7 belly-to-belly suplexes, and then he came back with a superplex off the top. Angle, who for some reason got a bloody nose, was hit with a stunner at 7 minutes for a near fall. After a second stunner, Angle rolled out of the ring. Austin then posted Angle 5 times, and Angle juiced like crazy. Austin suplexed Angle over the barricade. And so here we go now. You see Austin's in the ring, or Austin's on the other side of the barricade on the floor with the fans, and over you come. Boy, you felt tailbone first. That couldn't have felt good.
Oh no, it freaking hurt, man. At least I didn't crack my tailbone like I did at King of the Ring.
What's crazy is when he was getting ready to suplex you over, you could just look at the concrete where the fans are, and there's a huge bloody smear. Oh man, it's coming down.
I bled profusely that night.
How many stitches did you need for this?
I think it was 8. And that was because I was slicing myself too. Austin, the dig and twist, there was only 2 stitches for that.
When you got family at home, what are they thinking when they see their loved one, their brother, their son, their husband pouring blood on TV like this?
Oh, my mother, she called me that night. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you letting him make you bleed like that? She doesn't understand. She didn't understand the concept that it was predetermined. So
sure.
She thought that this was a real fight.
I don't think I've seen this many times. You're dragging Austin up the steps backwards and going to try to drag him into the ring. Wow, that's pretty innovative.
Yes, I did this spot. This was Stone Cold's idea. He wanted me to pull him in
all the way into the middle of the ring. There's the ankle lock. Man, that's a cool visual.
It is a cool visual. And if you, as you can see, if you look closely, Austin did help me quite a bit.
Yeah, but still, it looks cool.
It does look cool.
What a story they've told. Austin has beaten the hell out of you, but you're still not dead. And you had him in the middle of the ring with the ankle lock, but of course he gets the rope break. Man, this has got to be one of your top matches at this point in your career.
Oh yes, without a doubt. This match was one of my favorites. The only problem I had with it was the DQ finish.
Right.
Other than that, I thought the match was as incredible as it could have been. And I was so excited to work with Stone Cold. He was the reason why I even joined the WWE, why I signed with him. I fell in love with his character and his style, and I wanted to be him. Little did I know I was going to be the opposite of him, but
yeah.
He's the reason why I got in the business. And here I am working with him a year and a half later.
Belly to belly suplex on the floor. Of course it's on mats, but still, I think some fans at home probably think, oh, well, those are like gymnastic mats. It's probably not. No, I don't want Kurt Angle to suplex my big ass anywhere, much less on the floor. Come on.
Yeah. Those are hard rubber, very, very hard rubber. And right underneath it is cement. So the rubber doesn't even work. It's basically getting bumped on cement. It feels that hard.
You saw belly to belly and then almost like a backdrop driver
right
there.
Back.
And the referee is being pretty liberal here. You're pouring blood, trying to get Austin back in the ring so you can win your damn belt back.
You know what's amazing is Stone Cold.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. So what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com.
Never changed his style. Even after he had neck fusion,
yeah,
he never changed his style. He still did everything he did before, and he would bump any way you want him to bump. He never tried to protect his neck. It was amazing how he was able to adapt and not have to worry about his neck anymore. Usually when you have the surgery, you're like, okay, I can't do this, this, and this,
right,
but I can do that. But with Austin, anything still went.
Here we go. You're setting up the big moonsault. And you hit it. Perfect.
Did I nail it this time?
Dude, you nailed it. Here we go. Let's see. Can you make the cover? Oh man. It's still fascinating to me to think, because I don't know that I ever put it together until you revealed here on the show that you wouldn't let anybody clothesline you over the top and you go over backwards. But hey, if you want me to climb on top of some shit and flip backwards, no problem.
I know. I'm weird like that. I don't even know any other way to explain it.
It would be like, I'm too scared to drive a car. I'm going to go get this motorcycle now. Wait a minute. What? How's that possible?
I'm going to fly a jet.
Yeah, no big deal. Couple of reversals here. Oh, and he's got the old school $1 million dream from when he first came into the WWF. I like that. The old Ted DiBiase finish that he used.
There it is.
Into a pinning combination. Maybe. Oh, I like this. From a storytelling standpoint, this is a main event, man.
Yes, this is as good of a main event as it can be. Other than the finish, which
Right.
we've talked about a million times. Other than that, you can't get a better match than this. Stone Cold and I were on that night.
When you come back through the curtain, what's Vince saying after a match like this?
Oh, he was hugging us. He was like, "That was awesome. Thank you so much, guys." And that's when you know you did something special, is when Vince gets up and he's really excited. And Vince was very excited about this match.
I don't know that I'm sure you do know it.
Saw money.
I'm sure you've talked about how much you wanted to work Brett a bunch here on the show, but that little push off you did on the top rope to reverse the sleeper hold and try to turn it into a pin on Austin, that's a Bret Hart special, man. He did that with Austin back in Survivor Series 96 and even at WrestleMania 8 against Roddy Piper to win the Intercontinental title back. And that's kind of cool knowing that you had so much respect for Bret, and that's sort of a Bret spot right there.
It is a Bret spot, but it was Steve's idea, and it's probably because he did it with Bret.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yes.
What do you think of the old, let me raise your arms 3 times, and then right before it hits the 3rd time, you sort of hulk up? Do you like that?
It's a bit hokey, but it works. Fortunately, it does work. The fans get with it every time. Very seldom do they not get with it, but it works for the most part.
To me, that and the old 10 punches in the corner where the crowd counts along, those are like stereotypical house show matches. Yeah. Austin doing the trash talking. He's trying to set up the Stone Cold Stunner, just waiting on you to get your bloody tail up and catch one. Here we go.
What I was really impressed with myself about was how well I sold this match, especially with little experience. I thought this was a really solid match.
Oh, totally. And Austin's frustrated that the Stunner didn't get it done. Of course, he's frustrated with Hebner. But it's not Hebner. There's no quit in Mr. Angle. Oh, I like this. As you crawl up Austin here, he's looking down like, what's it going to take to beat this guy?
I'm never giving up. I just keep climbing up on him. This is a very dramatic scene. Pulling yourself up on the wrestler.
Oh, wow. Look at the fans. Wow, they went nuts for that. That was a nice spot right there. And boy, you've told us about this 100 times when we talk about match structure. Then you do the double down, and here comes the count. Just as you said. Crawling over to try to make the cover. I know long-term storytelling wise, it didn't make sense maybe for you to win the title here, but the fans were ready for it. They were ready for you to win.
Yes, they were. I was pretty surprised, but I think that the company wanted to hold off on that.
Yeah.
I know that they wanted us to go further in certain matches, but they also they didn't just want to protect me. They wanted to protect Steve. They were very adamant about protecting him, even as a heel. So I totally understood why they did the DQ. And eventually I did win the title from him.
I think in our research, we discovered that, big DDT right there. You might be the only guy, as a reminder, in case you're not able to watch along with us, referee Earl Hebner went down. So here comes Mike Chioda to count, and Austin kicks out. I think you're the only guy to kick out of the Stunner 3 times in the same match. Did you know that?
That was Austin's idea. He wanted me to look invincible. He wanted me to look as strong as I possibly could. And I told him, I said, 3 stunners. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So we ended up doing it.
Oh, big stunner for Chioda there. Austin's ready for him to be out of here. I do want to ask, the rumor and innuendo is that the finish of this match was determined the morning of the show. Did you hear that they weren't sure which direction they were going with regards to the finish until the day of?
Yes, I was told they changed their mind a bunch of times. They want Austin to go over. They want me to go over, Austin to go over, me to go over. Then they came up with a happy medium and said, let's do a DQ. And they decided that the morning of the show.
Oh my gosh, a belt shot for Tim White. We're down 3 referees now, but an angle slam too. We just need a damn referee to make the count. And of course, there isn't one. Oh, wait, yes, there is, but it's a WCW referee. It's Nick Patrick.
Oh boy, here comes trouble.
Let's take a listen.
What is this? Why is the bell ringing?
It's a winner by disqualification. Therefore, Steve Austin retains the WWF Heavyweight title.
Referee Nick Patrick has disqualified Stone Cold Steve Austin for excessive abuse towards the officials. Therefore, your winner, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle didn't win the
However,
title, damn it!
still World Wrestling Federation champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Angle got screwed! Kurt Angle just got screwed by a gun!
I got screwed, Conrad.
And Nick Patrick is getting thrown into the rings, and Kurt Angle is fired up, and you see Nick Patrick begging off. Nope, that's not going to work. Bam, big right hand for Patrick. And of course, an ankle lock for good measure.
I stiffed him too.
Meltzer would say, Angle had Austin pinned after the slam when Nick Patrick ran in, and instead of counting the fall, disqualified Austin for attacking the previous refs. Ross and Heyman were going crazy trying to put this match over and make the finish into a heat finish instead of a grown DQ finish. Unfortunately, they put the heat on the referee instead of Austin. 4.5 stars. You got to think if that was a clean finish, you would have had another 5-star match on your hand. Come on.
That's right. All they had to do is have me win. That's it.
In hindsight, how ballsy is it? And we're going to see some highlights here. It's pretty ballsy to think about the fact that you're bleeding like this and Austin helped you do it. And he lets you suplex him on the floor twice after major neck surgery.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
It is crazy. He, like I said, he never changed his style. Stone Cold, I think the reason why he left is because he wasn't the same wrestler that he was beforehand. In other words, when he decided to leave the company, he knew he lost a step.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to keep going as that person that lost a step. He wanted people to remember him in his prime. So that's the reason why he did leave when he did.
We had a question here from Tony. He says, this is the best singlet you ever wore. Why didn't you ever wear it again?
Well, I used to have singlets made every month for every pay-per-view. So I'd only wear that singlet for the month. And then I'd have a new one made by the next pay-per-view. And I'd wear that one every TV until the next pay-per-view. And then I have another one made. So I only wore it for a month and that was it. And I ended up giving that away to either a charity or a Hall of Fame.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.